What is it in cigarettes that's so dangerous?
Now we inject nicotine into the solution.
All I can say is that's a lot of money going up in smoke.
Note the blood vessels in this rabbit's ear.
Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Remember, son, money talks.
Beginners, almost without exception, find smoking irritating. When Columbus sent his companion, Miguel de Torre, to explore the interior of the newly discovered continent, he returned with the report that he had seen natives who sat before burning pieces of wood upon which they placed dried leaves and then inhaled the smoke through tubes inserted in their nostrils. This was the first acquaintance of white men with tobacco. The fragrant leaves of the Indians quickly spread around the world. Today, the labor and skill of thousands of families goes into the growing and processing of tobacco. Tobacco plants grow on millions of acres of fertile soil, soil that might otherwise be used to produce food. From cured tobacco leaves, such generally known products as snuff, chewing tobacco, pipe tobacco, cigars, and cigarettes are made. More stores sell tobacco than bread, and money spent on tobacco could pay for half our schools. This then is an example of a product that represents one of America's largest farm crops and one of the most controversial consumer articles. What does this product contain, and how does it affect those who use it? Here is a scientifically designed apparatus for collecting the content of the smoke under controlled conditions. Smoking is a process of dry distillation. By dry distillation, we mean the transformation of dry substances into vapor. The liquid in 2 of the flasks absorbs the nicotine, and in the other 2 flasks, it collects the tarry substances out of the burning tobacco. From the first group of flasks, chemists isolate nicotine by distillation. Variations from 1 to 3 milligrams per cigarette have been recorded. 1 milligram is about this much, and 3 times this amount could cause nicotine poisoning. The liquid in the second pair of flasks contains tars. Cigarette tars consist of a variety of substances which can be further separated chemically. Here are some of the more important constituents of cigarette tars. Some may be considered irritants, others stimulants, and some as having no known effect upon the human organism. All these tarry substances are the products of burning. They are not in the green tobacco leaves. But unlike tars, nicotine is found in the unburned tobacco. In smoking, some of the nicotine enters the body. When we light a cigarette, about 25% of the nicotine is destroyed chemically by fire. Behind the glowing tip, in the zone where tobacco is heated to a medium temperature, gases containing nicotine arise from the leaves. About 30% of these gases pass out into the atmosphere, while the remaining 45% continue to flow with the main air current towards the mouth. In consequence, only some 15% of total quantity of nicotine enters the mouth. Nicotine enters the body primarily through the air passages and lungs. From the lungs, it is carried to the left side of the heart, and from there it is rapidly distributed to all tissues of the body. This is why the smoker feels the effects of smoking almost as soon as he lights the tobacco. However, some nicotine is dissolved in the saliva of the mouth and swallowed, thus reaching the stomach directly. From the stomach, the portal vein carries it to the liver, where some chemical changes occur which are not yet fully understood. The drug acts mainly on 3 parts of the nervous system: on the ganglia, or switchboards, of the autonomic nervous system, on the junction between nerves and the muscle, and on the brain itself, effects which vary with each individual. Although the smoker absorbs relatively small amounts of nicotine, sensitive instruments can record its effect. For instance, these thermocouples record the influence of nicotine upon the body temperature. The skin temperature drops because blood vessels constrict under the influence of nicotine, and less blood reaches the skin. demonstrate the action of the autonomic ganglion cells of the intestines, we place a piece of rabbit intestine in a glass container. The rhythmic movement of the intestine continues even after deleted from the animal. The scribe shows normal peristalsis. Now we inject nicotine into the solution. The reaction is violent. Nicotine also acts upon the central nervous system. It stimulates it and produces a quickening of brain activity, which creates a feeling of nervousness and excitement. Nicotine that enters the lungs of the smoker spreads rapidly through the body. In turn, it is excreted in urine, saliva, and sweat. After several days, all nicotine leaves the body, but the urge to smoke remains. The question is then, why do people smoke?
It's sociable.
I never thought why I smoked.
I started smoking when I was quite young. My parents smoked, so do I.
Most people start smoking in imitation of a hero, or because they think that it makes them look important, grown up, or sophisticated, or they just stumble into the habit. Beginners, almost without exception, find smoking irritating. Sometimes reactions are quite violent. And yet, smoking is a widespread social habit, so widespread that considerable money is spent on the study of its effects. What are the conclusions of research at this time? For one thing, there seems to be agreement that smoke causes irritation of air passages. A smoker's cough is a well-known sound. There seems to be considerable agreement about the effect of smoking upon the human organism. But a great deal more work is needed to explain the potentially dangerous effects of smoke tars.